Notice already, you told me that the shame I've created for you in that area, that make an open create another one. See, because you don't say I will do another one. I am not in the house. Please don't come. And I will not come in your mind. Now, what sleeps more? See, Maria, I eat. I know it. You don't tell me to carry it.
Sleep on now, carry on go. Now, wash you. Hey, Father.
What's that?
This manicas.
Kind of pepper.
Hey, Jesus.
Today you go dance radio.
Skelewa. I will dance Skelewa.
I don't know this is to be naked. Just to
enjoy yourself.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's edition of Morning Market Review. And presently it's just 3 minutes after 8 by my own watch here. Let's just make it by 8:05 so that others can actually join us and we can actually start. So by 8:05, definitely would be starting today's edition of Morning Market Review. All right, thank you and stay tuned. It's 8:05 and we're actually starting today's edition of Morning Market Review. The first thing we'll be doing is that I would want to share my screen whereby you can see what the market has for us for today. All right, so the first thing I will be doing today is to take us through what we have in the Forex Factory. That's telling us about some of the news events that would take turn when it comes to the market for today. And for today being the 5th of July, we have some news that has actually been, carried out based on the time. But the one that is still yet to come, we have Spanish service PMI, Italian services PMI, French final services PMI, German final services PMI, and so on and so forth. And on the angle of GBP, that's talking about the Great Britain pounds, we'll be looking at their final services PMI. And when we talk about PMI, we are looking at level of the diffusion index based on surveyed purchasing managers in the service industry. So this is what this tends to actually measure. So if the news comes out positive, definitely the market is going to be in favor of the Eurozone, as well as if it comes out positive for GBP2, it will definitely be in favor of the Great Britain. Then also by 10, we are going to be having PPI, that is purchasing producers purchasing index. All right, so we have that too. Then we have a meeting which is going to be all day long, and I believe that this is something you as a person should look out for. That's talking about OPEC meeting, which is going to be an all-day kind of event. So we are going to be having so many movements in relation to this OPEC meeting. You have so many movements on oil as well as on Canadian dollar, because whatever happens to oil, definitely we have an impact on Canadian economy. All right. Then tentatively, we are going to be having the German 10-year bond auction, but just like we have it here, it's still tentative. Then by 3 p.m., we are going to be having factory orders from the USD, and also we have IBD TIPP economic optimism. All right, this is still tentative. Then also we are also having an all-day news, which is called world's total vehicle sales. I believe this would talk about how much vehicle was produced as well as how much was actually being sold. And this in relation would in so many ways also have an effect on probably oil, and it might not have an effect on oil, because when we talk about vehicle sales now, the world is actually moving towards a place whereby you do not need how do I call it now, petrol to actually run your vehicles. Of course, I believe you are aware that we now have electric vehicles and the like. So this also would definitely have an effect on the market. Then by 7, FOMC meeting minutes, we are going to be having this, and we actually expect this to move the market massively. And for today, I'm actually expecting a lot of volatility. So it's time for you to actually get everything right, fund your account, then take the best decision you could ever take when it comes to you looking at the market for today. All right, and by 9 p.m. too, FOMC member Williams is going to be speaking. And when you look at USD, a lot of issues has actually been happening in this region. And when I say a lot of issues has been happening in this region, you'd see everybody's actually expecting the US economy to collapse. All right, but up to this moment, it's still standing strong and standing firm. And there are issues as regards whether they are going to be, giving more to their own interest rates, or probably the interest rates will just remain the way it is. But all these things, we tend to look at it as we go further in analyzing every instrument which would actually be seen. So these are some of the news which we have for today. All right. Then aside that too, FOMC meeting, they are going to be looking at the path ahead. Aside from them looking at the path ahead, would also be looking at USDJPY, what is happening there, and also we have different issues coming out from China at the moment now, and this is due to do I say a Cold War which is happening between China as well as other states. So we have a news saying that China squeezes key metal supplies in chip war escalation. So all this we tend to see during the course of the market. So let me go to the chart so that we begin to analyze for today. All right, so this is our chart, and I would actually start by analyzing what we have on the dollar index. All right. So if you look at what the dollar index has actually been doing for quite some times, you would discover that the dollar index has actually been more of an uptrend. Fine. During the uptrend, we've been having some kind of market tending to have what we call a retracement, a rejection. All right. But irrespective of this retracement as well as rejection, you can still see that the dollar is actually waxing stronger as the day goes by, and for now it's still one of the strongest economy as far as this particular market is actually concerned. All right, so for today we can actually see that the dollar index has actually been respecting this particular zone. This is this zone here, and today being Wednesday, this is where this is today. So starting from Monday, market actually got to this particular place, and ever since then, market has actually been respecting this particular zone. All right, for Monday. And if you look at it too, the support region which we've had so far from the movement that has happened on Monday has actually been this particular area, talking in terms of what the dollar index has actually been doing over time. So this has actually been the support region where which we've actually had. So looking at some of these, the major news that is actually affecting the dollar index as of what we know is that one, dollar index is actually very strong, and most times you would see that whenever we have strong news much like that of FOMC, you see the dollar index getting much more weaker at the start of the day, and hoping to actually now recover when the news actually comes up. And I believe that this is what dollar is actually doing. So because of this, we might actually see this particular dollar index testing this particular area, talking about this trend line which I actually did drew. I actually expect this dollar index to actually test this area, and upon testing this area, I expect market to actually keep on moving in an upward direction. All right, so this is just to tell us what the dollar is doing. All right, so what I'm going to be doing now is that I'll move to different instruments which has the dollar as well as the ones that does not have the dollar, and we tend to look at them as well as how we can benefit from them. But beyond this, if you as a person, if you are to trade the dollar index, so what is actually expedient for you is that one, you look out for areas of support as well as areas of resistance. Look out for areas of support as well as areas of resistance. And when I talk about areas of support as well as areas of resistance, I'm talking about the ones you can actually see, not the ones I'm talking about the ones you can actually bring out yourself, not the one which the indicator has actually given you. So take for an example, this particular area, I believe you can actually see this my cross here. This particular area, talking about the area of 102.810, is actually a resistance area when it comes to this particular instrument, the dollar index. You as a person can begin to take a buy at this particular point, or better still, you can enter for a buy limit at this region. You can enter for a buy limit at this region, whereby you take a buy at this point, and you expect the market to actually go forward. So you can actually take a buy limit at this point, then you can take your profit at this point, which is actually a very good and a very viable option. You can actually see that the market will just retrace starting from this level using the knowledge of support and resistance, which we know before now. All right, so moving into Euro USD, the Euro USD has actually been doing fantastic. And from what we have here from our chart, you'd see that it has actually been ranging between the highest of Monday as well as the lowest of what we had on Monday. The market has actually been ranging between that two parts. And why you can actually see euro having some level of strength at the moment is because one, dollar index is weak at the moment. Aside from the fact that dollar index is weak at the moment too, European stocks is actually getting some level of strength based on the fact that China is having issue with US as an economy. Now, when you look at what US does, US actually plays a big broader role when it comes to how do I call it now? They play a big broader role in order to actually make sure that the economy works very well. Not only their own economy, but I'm talking about the global economy. And in such manner, they actually serves as more or less like security to everyone. They give out sanctions which could be economic in nature. And for some of the sanctions that has actually been given to China, it has actually affected them because of their own support to what Russia is doing. And in a bid for China to actually retaliate, they actually banned making of, or do I say buying of cheap from US economy. And this is not really, doing so well for both economy. It's not doing so well for both economy, and because of this, it's not really giving rise to them. All right. So the Eurozone has a level of how do I call it now? A level of strength against the dollar. So what we can actually do as for today is that let's look at support and resistance majorly. That's what I'm going to be using for the course of this class. Now, for today, or do I say for yesterday, the highest or the closest area of resistance is this place, whereby we have this rejection where market actually went up here then started coming down, of which the dynamic area of resistance, or do I say support? It could act as a support, and it acted as a support and also acted as a resistance in this particular area. So if you are taking a buy entry, you might want to enter above where price got resisted for yesterday, this area that we have actually marked. You can actually decide to take a buy above this place. Then you can actually take your profits at the highest of what where price got to yesterday. And the highest that price got to yesterday is around this area, which is 1.09159. 1.09159. That's the highest that price got to yesterday. Yes, that's the highest that price got to yesterday. So you can actually decide to take your profit at that level. Then peradventure, you are not looking for a buy, because I actually expect market to also move in favor of the dollar based on the news that we've actually seen that would definitely come around. You can actually decide to enter a sell at this point. You can decide to enter a sell at this point while you take your profit at this area, which is 1.08779. 1.08779. 1.08779. You can actually see that this place whereby this resistance is, market is actually supporting how do I call it now? Market is actually respecting that particular zone, and that tells you the power of support and resistance. So if price breaks above this region, you can actually enter for a continuous or do I say further buy. But if price does not, of course, you are looking in terms of a sell. You can decide to actually take your sell entry at this region while you take your profit before it gets to this untested support. That is in terms of Euro USD. All right. So looking for GBP USD now. All right, so for GBP USD, the markets are still been more of an uptrend, starting from or do I say since the beginning of this week, the market has actually been more of an uptrend, which tells us of the fact that the Great Britain pounds has actually had some level of strength. Fine. When I say the Great Britain pounds has had some level of strength, this is not to say that dollar is actually weak. But the thing is this, both economies are actually doing very fine, and they are doing fantastically fine at the moment. Of course, let's bring it down. If you are meant to convert your naira to a pound as well as to a dollar, you can actually see that they're actually doing very good, and they're almost at par. Just that I think the pounds is leading the dollar about 100 naira. If you are to convert it into our own currency, about 150 naira or so is leading the dollars. Now, looking at what we talked about, talking in terms of our support and resistance. All right, the closest resistance to what we have is still more like the highest of today, of which market also tested that area yesterday, as well as on Monday. You can actually see this zone, what we did add on Monday. All right, so this area that we have marked is actually an area of resistance, and you can actually see for last week Friday to that immediately price got there, we started having more like a reversal, or do I say a rejection? All right, that's one. So also looking at our support region for this particular instrument too, our support region for this instrument is almost at the tip of this my trigger lines, or do I say, yeah, of course, you can actually see that this region price has actually did gotten some level of support, in the sense that price has not really been able to actually break below and do I say break below as well as close below it. Price has not been able to do that. So for whatever reason, if you're actually looking at taking a buy for the market for today, all you can actually do is that you can take a buy position above this particular region, which is 1.27241. You can take your buy position above this particular region, 1.27241, while you take your profit at this particular region. You take your profit at this particular region. That is before price gets to this untested resistance, where price got rejected for yesterday. All right, you can actually do take your entry there. Sorry, take your profit before price gets to this rejected area. Then for a sell on this particular instrument, fine, I'm actually looking at more of a sell for this particular instrument for today. Looking at more of a sell for this particular instrument for today, and you would be selling at once price breaks and closes below this particular area, which virtually marked that this area that looks as an area of support, enter for a sell, then you can actually take your profit before you get to this weak support. Take your profit before you get to this weak support. You can enter for a buy once price closes below this region, then you take your profit around this area before you get to this weak support. All right, now looking at USDJPY now, let's look at what the market has for us in terms of USDJPY. Now, for USDJPY, you can actually see that since the start of this week, the market has not really had more like a definite direction in terms of USDJPY, and I can actually say that it has not really had a definite direction, because the market is consolidating. All right, the market is actually consolidating, and is not really making it have a definite direction. And because of this, you can actually see that it's easier for you to actually mark your area of support as well as your area of resistance. Now, the closest area of resistance which we had is this region, while the closest support which we had could actually be likened to this region, at least the one we had for today. All right, could be likened to this particular region. And when we look at USDJPY, fine, not so many news we had around USDJPY. one of the major news which we had on USDJPY is the fact that the last CPI that was released for the Japanese yen, it actually was positive. That was talking about the last one that was released. It was positive. Then aside that too, riding on the trend that USDJPY has been having, it has actually been high. It actually did recorded a 7 months high. Recorded the 7 months high, and because of this, of course, it's actually giving them some level of momentum. All right, and JPY is actually doing fine too. It's doing fine because of the fact that US dollars, they are having issues as regards inflation. There is a news which I have here that says Asia FX rises as dollar slips on easing US inflation. Now, the more they tend to cushion the effect of inflation, the more they're actually losing some level of strength. All right. So these are some of the news which we had on USD JPY. So in order for you to actually take a very good position for today, all you just need to do is that you can enter for a sell. That is if price breaks below the region of 144.471. If price breaks below the region of 144.71, you can actually enter for a sell. Then you take your profit at below the lowest of today. You can delete what market would actually do immediately enters for that sell. It would actually continue for quite some time. So you can actually, for most part, for the how do I call it now? For the early part of today, I actually expect JPY to actually have some level of strength before dollar would actually pick up on the hopes of fundamentals that would be released during the course of the day. All right, so you can actually enter for a sell around this region while you take your profit. At least you can actually take your profit around 144.288. 144.288. That's where I actually expect market to get to before we can actually have further movement of price. But peradventure the market moves, you actually are envisaging for a buy, you can actually enter for a buy at price level 144.775. That is if price breaks above this particular resistance region. If price breaks above, you can actually enter for a buy. Then you can actually take your profit. At least you can take your profit anywhere you want to take your profit. You can take your profit anywhere you want to take your profit. All right, so let's look at NZDUSD. NZDUSD. All right, so for NZDUSD, you can actually see that NZDUSD. All right, so for NZDUSD, you can actually see that the market has actually been on more of an uptrend since last week Friday. Yes, the movement actually started last week Friday at this region. All right, so the markets started last week Friday at this region, and you can actually see that it has actually did respected itself enough to actually go further. All right, so looking at what the market is actually doing on New Zealand dollars. One, New Zealand dollars is actually having a lot of strength owing to the fact that they have a 10-year bond, which is actually doing very, very fine. All right. Aside from the fact that they have a 10-year bond, which is doing very fine. Two is that their consumer confidence is strong. Their consumer confidence is actually strong. Then also they release what we call solid services. There is actually data for what we call solid services. This solid services is also doing very, very fine, which means that to an extent, the New Zealand dollar has actually been enjoying a consistent rise in its growing economy. All right, it has actually been enjoying some constant rise in its growing economy, and because of this, market has actually been more of an uptrend. But at the moment, when market actually did open today, or do I say towards the close of business yesterday, market got to one of the verified resistance, which it hasn't gotten to for quite some times now, and because of this, the market is actually respecting that particular zone, and that's why we can actually see the market doing more of a sell at the moment. So in order for us to look at this market critically using the knowledge of support as well as resistance. Now, using our knowledge of support and resistance, the closest resistance which we had is more like this area. This is the closest resistance which we had, and the closest support which we also did have is at this weak support region. All right, so for us to actually enter into a favorable market, allow price to actually break above this region. Allow price to break above this region. That's talking about the 0.62007 region. Once price breaks above, you can actually continue on your buy order. You can actually continue on your buy order. Then peradventure price comes down, breaking below this weak support, which you have around the level of 0.61846. 0.61846. You can actually now decide to enter in for a further sell. Can decide to enter in for a further sell. For this instrument for today, my preference would be more of a sell. I can actually take your sell. That is, if price breaks below this region, at least it would come down a bit before taking a further. I'm actually on 1 hour time frame. If you are seeing 15 minutes, you are not. I'm not on 15 minutes. I'm actually on 1 hour time frame. All right. So you can actually decide to enter for a sell around this region. All right. So aside that too, let us take one more currencies before we move to commodities. Now, let me look at GBPCAD. GBPCAD. All right. So for GBPCAD, all right, GBPCAD has been consolidating also. It has actually been consolidating also from the beginning of this particular week, and you can actually see that market actually been ranging between this resistance as well as this particular support. But for today, or do I say for whatever we'll be looking at for today, this support region is too far to our entry, so I'll rather move it to this particular level. All right, I'll rather move it to this particular level. So for this particular instrument, GBPCAD, just like we did mentioned earlier on that Canadian dollar has actually been riding on the strength of oil. Canadian dollar has actually been riding on the strength of oil. Then aside from the fact that it has actually been riding on the strength of oil, just like we did mentioned before now, anything that happens to oil will definitely have an effect on Canadian dollar, because the Canadian dollar is actually a petrochemical kind of economy. Now, for most part of what we've been having on oil, you would see that OPEC is actually trying to bring about a benchmark to what price of oil would be. And you can actually see that they've actually succeeded for quite some time. Like let me say for the past 2 weeks now, they've actually succeeded because oil has not gotten past that $70 per barrel region for quite some times now. And this is actually not giving so much strength to them. Now, one of the major challenges which we have for GBP is the fact that news coming out of the zone as regards to this Brexit pressure is also having an adverse effect on what GBP would rather do. It's having an adverse effect on what GBP would rather do. So I actually expect that this instrument would later do more of a sell for today, banking on the hopes of what this OPEC plus all-day meeting would actually give us. Of course, once we have level of optimism in the market, definitely it would help us to take a very good position, of which I believe that some of the things they'll be discussing would be towards how oil could actually do better, irrespective of the benchmark that would actually be put on oil. So for today, on this particular instrument, you can actually decide to enter for a further buy. Enter for a further buy if price breaks above this particular region, and you can actually enter a further buy at price level 1.68416. 1.68416. Then you take your you can take your profit before you get to this verified resistance. 1.68416. Then you take your profit before you get to this verified resistance. But majorly, I would rather say that it's wise that one should actually enter for more of a sell. It's wise for somebody to actually enter for more of a sell at this region. Then you can actually decide to take your profits. You can actually enter for more of a direct sell on this particular instrument. Then you take your profit before price gets to this area. You can actually take your profit before price gets to this area. But if you want to be so sure, then you can actually do wait. You can actually enter for a sell. That is if price retraces down to this level, which is 1.68247. If price retraces down to this level of 1.68247, then you can actually enter for a sell. Then you can take your profits at this support. All right. So let's go to gold now. Gold. All right. Looking at gold too, gold has actually been doing more of an uptrend. Yes, at least more like since last week Thursday, gold has been more of an uptrend since last week Thursday, and we can actually see what it's been able to achieve over time. All right, and one, gold is doing very fine, not solidly because dollar index is weak. Let me put it that way. Gold is doing very fine, and when we say gold is doing very fine, we cannot solidly attribute this to the fact that dollar index is weak. No, dollar index is not really weak as that. One of the major news that is actually affecting gold and giving gold some of this major boost is the fact that investors they had issues over what copper could actually do. Now, just like I made mention earlier on, US actually gave a kind of sanction to China. They gave a sanction to China, and for most part of what we know of China, they have most of these production companies, manufacturing companies. We have them in China, of which, when it comes to their demand, they demand for it's easier for them to make use of copper for some of their industries and the likes. Now, in as much as they actually altered some of the things they do with US, it didn't really give chance for copper to have a major boost, or for them to actually demand copper in its appropriate direction or demand. So this led to an increase in the demand for gold because they see gold as, okay, fine, this is much more durable. It's much more, you can actually bank more on that than for you to say that you are doing on. So one of the issues that is actually making gold go up is the issue of this issues between US China, the trade war issue between them. It's one of the issues that is actually giving gold a kind of push that is having. Then aside that too, gold is also edging higher. All right, gold is also edging higher due to the fact that so gold is edging higher because it's undergoing what you call a recovery. It's undergoing what you call a recovery. Now, central banks are they are desperately trying to gather evidence that inflation is on a sustainable path. Are you getting what I'm saying now? Now, people are not still satisfied with data coming from US saying that, oh, fine, we are actually curbing inflation. No, we have everything under our own shadows, our curves, and there's no problem. No, people are still having issues as regards some of these things, and because of this, it's bringing about some kind of sentiment in the market. So some people are still taking away their money from dollar index and they are still banking it on gold. That, okay, fine, let me still put this money on gold. Definitely it will still do me something better. So for today, the closest resistance I can actually see is at this particular region. That's talking about the highest of what price has actually done for today. That's the closest resistance which I've actually seen. And the closest support which we have seen also is at this level on 1 hour. This is a support. You can actually see that price was supported at this region, and also for the first half of what we had for today, when price opened, it was supported at this region too. So if you are to enter for a buy, you can enter once price breaks above the highest of today. You can enter for a buy at price level 1927.12. 1927.12, then you take your profit at the highest of yesterday. You can enter for a buy at 1927.12, then you take your profit at the highest of, you take your profit at the highest of yesterday, which is around this region, 1930.52, 1930.52. All right. Then alternatively, if you are to enter for a sell, you can enter for a sell at this region. That is if price breaks below this region. You can enter for a sell at this region, then you take your profits around where price was being rejected for today, at least before we will begin to have some of the news that would definitely move the market crazy. We can actually do that. Can actually do that. All right. Can actually do that. Then also would move away from this. We'll move away from gold, and we want to look at oil. We want to look at oil for today. All right. So this is our chart on oil. Looking at what oil has been doing, you can actually see, just like I made mention earlier on, oil has actually been ranging between the so oil has actually been ranging between the $70 per barrel. You can actually see that for most part of what oil has been doing, oil has been ranging between the $70 per barrel, and for what we've been doing is just been going on and off within that particular region. It's been doing that, and this is because they want to actually put a benchmark to what oil is doing, because they don't want anybody to have a monopoly of what oil we do. Now, from what I did said earlier on, this is also not this is more or less like a kind of get back towards what Russia has actually been doing in Ukraine. Fine. One of the foremost exporters of oil happens to be Russia. All right. And you can actually see that since the issue in Russia and Ukraine started, they've not really had suppression in their own economy. And one of the major ways whereby you can actually suppress the economy is by making sure that you regulate some of the things which they actually produce or which they actually export, which actually gives them return. All right. So there's actually been a kind of regulation, and one of the regulations or one of the things which they have actually tried to do is that OPEC as well as its members actually opted for what we call output production cut. Output production cut. And in one of these output production cuts, one of the things which we did saw was that take for an example, Saudi Arabia did a kind of 1 million per barrel output production cut, meaning that they'll be producing lesser, of which countries like Nigeria, which has actually been told to actually did produce more, that has actually had a shortfall in their production, are told to actually did they are told to do well to make sure that they can actually at least get to the best of their ability when it comes to their production quota. All right. So this is what is happening on oil. I believe one of the deliberations that we're having today, because one of the meetings we had is on OPEC Plus. One of the deliberations that we're having today would be, what should oil do? How best could they? Because the thing is this, let's look at it now. Some countries like Nigeria solidly rely on oil, which means that they do not have any other stream of income. So I believe one of the things they would be looking at is, okay, fine, for us that do not really have any other things, that the only thing we bank on for our economy to actually grow is this oil. How do we still make money from it? I believe these are some of the things, as well as other challenges which they are facing, as well as so for oil, I did expect that because of this meeting, oil should at least move from this particular area, this particular resistance which it has actually been respecting for quite some time. Oil should move away from that region and at least go towards this proven resistance region. So for most part of today, you can actually see that the closest resistance we had was more like the highest of today. The closest resistance we had was more like the highest of today, while the closest support we had was the lowest of today. All right. So for you to actually take a very good entry, you can take a sell once price breaks below the 75.62 per barrel region. 75.62 per barrel region. You can actually decide to enter for a sell. Then alternatively, if you want to enter for a more of a buy, you can actually enter for a buy once price breaks above 76.14. 76.14, then you can actually take your profit high above, depending on what your risk appetite is. All right. So moving away from that, let me quickly talk about US 100. Let me quickly talk about US 100. I'll talk about US 100, then I would also literally talk about analyze US 2000 as well as US 30. All right. Now, good. On US 100, you'd see that price has actually been radiating between this area since the start of the week, between this area as well as this area, of which you can actually use that as our own area of support as well as area of resistance. We can actually use that as an area of support as well as our own area of resistance. All right. So for this particular one, I believe everybody knows that US 100 is actually a tech stock, or do I say index? All right. And one of the major issues which we've actually been having, or do I let me just say this: US 100 on its own does not move based on the fact or based on assumption that if dollar index is weak, indices would go up, or if indices is going up, dollar index will be weak, or if dollar index is strong, indices will go down. No, it doesn't work like that for US 100. And it doesn't work like that for US 100 because US 100 is actually a tech stock. Just like I've said earlier on, is a tech stock. Why US 2000 as well as US 30, US 500, those ones are more of manufacturing or production companies. That's what you have in US 30, US 2000, and US 500. So what you have there is more of manufacturing companies, production companies. So what guides them will be different. Are you getting that? Now, what drives technology will be different from what drives a production company. What drives a production company would be how much people need your product or your services that you render. But what will drive US 100 will be different. It differs because it's working based on technology, advancement, and more often use of AI. Now, I was reading something up yesterday, and there is actually a university in Texas. Yeah, that should be University of Texas. By next month, they will be having their first AI professor. They will be having their first AI professor that will be teaching or lecturing the students. That's to tell you what the world is going into now. Aside that, let's bring it back home. Do you know that in Lagos here, one of the first banks that they have on the island now has a robot as a customer service, AI. You don't need to talk to somebody. The AI has a machine crested on the chest. It will talk to you. Just put in your digits. It brings out your details, talks to you, address you by what you are, and tells you that, okay, fine. If your problem is so, press 1. Once you press 1, it gives you further query. This is what would drive what US 100 would do. And just like we do say here, we have a norm. And one of the few things which we say is that the tech is yet to start. The tech is yet to start. And also, one of the few news that actually came up during the course of the week was that Twitter, talking about Elon Musk, he said that he's going to be restricting accounts, that you as a person, if your account is not verified, you're only opportune to seeing just 600 chats, or do I say 600 posts in a day. Then for people whose account has been verified, I think theirs is like 1,000 or so. And because of this, Meta, that's talking about Mark Zuckerberg, is seeing an opportunity in that, because why will you deter people from doing what they normally do? After all, we are burning our data, doing every other thing of which you're actually cashing out. You are now restricting us. Now, Mark Zuckerberg is about bringing out another app which will actually work more like Twitter, which will be a competitor for Twitter. So all this news will definitely affect how the market behaves in terms of US 100, and we actually expect that some of these advancements would actually take a boost on US 100. So just like I've said earlier on, you can decide to enter for a buy. That is if price breaks above this region, while you can actually enter for a sell if price breaks below this verified support. But if you do not really have the patience of waiting so much, this is a good entry for you. If price gets to this area, you can actually enter for a buy at price level 15330.33. 15330.33, while you take your profit at that first resistance period area that was being taken. So on that basis, let me just analyze US 2000. So for US 2000, you can actually see that the market has actually been, this one actually respects what dollar index actually does, respects more of what dollar index actually does. And for today, the closest resistance we had is at this place which actually served more like a support region yesterday. And I can actually tell you that this region is actually a dynamic region because it's acting as both a support and also acting as both a resistance. It's acting as a support and it's also acting as both a resistance. You can actually enter for a buy if price breaks below above this area. Enter for a buy if price breaks above this area, then you can actually take your profits wherever you are fine with. You can actually take your profits wherever you are fine with. But alternatively, if you are entering for a sell, you can enter for a sell. That is if price breaks below the lowest of today. Enter for a sell if price breaks below the lowest of today. All right, moving away from that, looking at US 30, you can also do the same replica on US30. You can enter for a buy if price breaks above this region on US30, then you can actually enter for a sell. That is if price breaks below this region using just your support and resistance alone. Using support and resistance alone. All right, can actually do that. Then lastly, we'll be looking at DE30. What has DE30 been doing? Now, you can actually see that towards the close of last week, that was last week Friday, D30 was more of an uptrend in terms of doing more of a buy. But ever since markets opened on Monday, it has actually been doing more of a sell. It has actually been doing more of a sell ever since markets did opened on Monday. And this is due to the fact that the Eurozone is not really doing very fine. Just like we said about some couple of weeks, the Germany actually declared that they're actually going into recession. All right. Aside from the fact that they declared that they are actually going into recession, they have not really bounced back from the recession. Aside from the fact that they've not really bounced back from recession, some of the data that also did came out today did not really come out very well for them. All right. Some of the news that came out today didn't come out very well. Now we had German Final Services PMI, which was constant. Italian Service PMI, it was constant. Why that of Spanish Service PMI came out negative? All right. So this is just to tell us that fine, they didn't really perform all to expectation, and that's why you are seeing the markets doing more of a sharp. You can actually see that volatility in that when we did started. All right. So for today, you can actually decide to enter for a sell. That is if price breaks below this region, and that's at 160.32.9, 160.32.9, where you can decide to take your profits anywhere you're actually comfortable with. But alternatively, if you want to enter for a buy, you can decide to enter for a buy at 16069.9, 16069.9, then you can take your profits wherever you're actually comfortable with. All right. So when somebody is saying, what is the meaning of all day in Forex Factory? I believe that is English. All day. It means the news is a meeting that will take throughout, that will be held throughout the whole of the day. Now, when you say a meeting, take for an example, OPEC meeting. You are not just having just a country talking. You have different countries coming together. So every one of them are going to be sharing their challenges, way forward, what is happening to them, and how well they can actually combat some of these things. So it's going to take time. All right, it's going to take time. So that's what all day means. So we have actually come to the end of our class for today. And we hope that you can actually join us tomorrow for another edition of Money Market Review. But still on today's matter, by 2 o'clock, we are going to be having live trading sessions, which means that you as a person can actually join us live to trade live by 2:30. And this is because, by 2 o'clock rather, 2 o'clock, live trading session starts by 2 o'clock. And another thing is just that our live trading session, the US session starts around 2:30. So it's an avenue for you to actually look at what is happening in the market, as well as how best you as a person can actually take opportunity to now see that, okay, fine, this is what market has been doing, and this is how best you can actually enjoy from the market. So we have that. Then also we have training going on at the academy, as well as places whereby we have offices. And for places whereby we do not have offices, you can actually join us online using the VTC link. That is in the evening. If you do not have that link, kindly talk to your account officer so that they can actually share it with you. Join us using the VTC so that you can actually enjoy what trading is all about. And also, if you have any challenges, feel free to actually contact your account officer. A lot of clients are going through a lot of things in their accounts, and probably they do not know how to say it. The thing is this: your account officers do not know what is happening on your accounts. You need to do a screenshot to them, or you call them to now tell them to now explain further for you if you're actually confused about something. And I believe that that's what your account officers are meant to do for you. They are meant to assist you. If there's anything you need them to do for you, kindly reach out to them. So I believe they would actually reach out to you. Then number, you can actually reach out to your account officer. I believe they would do so well for that. So evening class starts around 6. Evening class starts from 6 p.m. 6 p.m. It starts from 6 p.m. All right. Then we are actually going to be in Ekiti this week. We are going to be in Abeokuta this week. So if you are in these regions, feel free to actually reach out. Then Abuja is there for you. Ibadan is there for you. Lagos office is there for you. If you have any other, all right, Mr. Emmanuel Adams, you need an evaluation. Kindly talk to your account officer. Reach out to your account officer. You can actually tell your account officer to link up with me. I would want to have a word with you. You need to. I need to actually evaluate what you are doing. All right, Mr. Emmanuel Oguchi, reach out to your account officer. Tell the person to actually reach out to me personally. Your account officer to reach out to me personally. All right, so would evaluate that. Just reach out to your account officer, Mr. Emmanuel Oguchi Adams. Reach out to our account officer, so we'll look out for that. So thank you. We've come to the end of our class for today. So catch you later tomorrow. Thank you and do have a great day.